So Helen, you've been diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. Can you sort of take me back to what happened, why you found out? Did you have a lump? How did that?
Yes, we go back to January of 2020. I've been on an amazing holiday with my family. I went back to Australia, which was just everything I could have envisaged. It was a dream come true. I came back to the UK. I didn't see any symptoms. There was nothing untoward other than I woke up in the middle of the night one day and I just caught my right elbow across my chest and just felt this lump. And I took that on board at about 4 in the morning. At the time I knew something. Instinctively, I knew something was wrong. And at that point, I kept it to myself. I didn't tell my husband or family. I needed to digest the news.
Now, you say you found a lump. Was there any, you said there were no symptoms at all. How did that lump feel? Was it a hard lump? Did it feel detached?
Sure, it just felt like sort of an acorn. It felt irregular in shape. Sometimes I think women do have symptoms and they know. It could be anything, it could be a rash. But in my case, it literally was the irregular lump.
And from there, what did you do? And how long did it take you to sort of seek some form of help?
I kept it to myself for 3 days. I had to sort of live with those 3 days knowing I wasn't being pessimistic, but I just felt it wasn't benign. It's though I knew that it was the breast cancer. And so therefore I probably just had to take that on board, digest it, process it. I told my husband, Chris, who said immediately go to the GP. They were fantastic. They saw me immediately and referred me to the NHS. But at that point, we wanted to fast track. So we went privately.
How many years ago was that? So you found the lump, I mean, was it 2 years ago?
Yes, it would be now. To this point, we're dealing with 18 months ago. So the first primary cancer, I fought for a year. And then obviously, I'm sure we'll talk later about the secondary cancer, which I've only just been diagnosed in July.
So you got to the GP, you were fast-tracked through to the NHS, and then you were given the news.
That was mind-blowing. I've written a lot of poetry and a lot of feelings about that time because the news just got worse. Instead of it getting better, I was in consultancy rooms and it was, yes, you've got triple negative and we can cure triple negative, which they could and they can. But it just seemed that my particular cancer, it was rare, it was aggressive, it was not going to be an easy road, and it hasn't been an easy road because of the high reoccurrence rate. This is the problem with this particular nasty cancer. It comes back, and when it does come back, I'll quote, it comes back in a vengeance.
So now we know your cancer has come back.
Yes.
And we know that you're at a hospice.
Sure.
And you're working to sort of enjoy your life.
And I'm having a lovely time.
So talk to me about that.
I'm having the most fantastic time. I have decided to embrace every day, and this is like, one would think, having a holiday. To me, it's having a peaceful holiday. The hospice is amazing. The staff are just like angels. And each day I bring something new to this, to the day. I bring in, it could be quotes, I'll bring in music, I'll bring art, I'll bring memories with my family, happiness, joy, because this is everything to me, this period of time. It's a gift.
But to know when you're told that you have a certain amount of time left, how does that feel? How do you get through things?
You accept it. The first thing, you accept it, and I think the second really important factor is you look at what you've done and you look at where you are and you look at how fulfilled as a person you are. And I feel I fit in all those categories. I've travelled, beautiful, beautiful family, my art has elevated to beyond my dreams. I mean, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have thought now it would have got to this level of recognition. So I'm very happy.
You've got a big smile when you talk about it.
I love my art with passion. 5 years ago, I decided to go to what I call 2D canvas. I'd worked as a fashion photographer in London and in my 20s, and decided it was time to paint. And there was no going back. I started off having lessons, like probably some people do, or following your instinct feeling, and realised I could do that on my own. And then went to London, did lots and lots of art fairs, met lots of other artists and peers, which was lovely because it's about networking as well. And just more projects, took on more projects, and just did lots of themes, new themes of work, new series of work. There was always a motivation behind the work.
So you literally started painting 5 years ago.
Sure.
And since then you have achieved quite a few different things, haven't you? Talk to me about some of those.
Firstly, well, where do I begin? Probably I ended up with a piece of artwork in Manila, of all places. It was on a multinational screen in Manila in the Philippines, a piece called Candy. And this was a project, a digital project that was going on at the time. And I got selected for that. And I was, woohoo, this is like pretty awesome. Not every day do you land a piece, obviously, in the Philippines. And following on from that, all sorts. I had a piece, Care of Art Below at Hyde Park Corner. That was on the Tube. And that was a great feeling to be literally on London Underground and see your work as posters. So that was cool. That was really cool. And then recently flannels. That was in honour of the NHS, care of a company called W1 Curates. Flannels have been exhibiting amazing art, and one of my pieces was selected on 34 channels in London. So my husband and I went to see that, and incredible. It was just to see it filmed was really good.
Now, the flannel stuff, has that happened during the time that you've been?
Yes,
wow.
Yes, very much so. Because every Thursday, that was a light up iconic buildings in London. And through the art, obviously, I was selected for one of those buildings. So that was great for you.
So you said it's almost been a gift knowing that there is a limit and knowing where that limit is.
Sure.
And you seem to have you are making the most of it.
Absolutely.
And you look so happy.
I am. I'm really happy, ever so happy.
But you've had a lot of support, right? Your family?
Lots and lots of support. My own family, obviously, my husband, my 3 children, incredible. And I must mention all the time my mother, my brother, and I have a twin sister.
Do you?
You got a twin sister? Yes.
I couldn't do twins. If I had a twin sister, I'd probably be envious. You're not envious of each other?
No. She's a documentary maker,
is
actually.
She?
Yes,
oh,
she
wow.
is. So she's in film, which is wonderful. And the family have been fantastic.
Yes. In particular, your husband, who's been your support. How long have you been married?
25 years. So, yes, supporting me for 25 years. And I think when a spouse does hear and go through this with you, it's incredibly life-changing. And I think to have a very strong marriage, it does show. And our love has just got stronger and stronger. It really has.
And how's he coping? Because obviously that's news for him as well.
Of course. He's coping okay. I mean, as much as you can, raising 3 children, and obviously everything that does come with 3 children, education, looking after the house, obviously working. There's a lot to juggle, but he's doing fine, thank you.
What's your biggest fear?
Probably my biggest fear is that there's just going to be too much to cope with, and there's going to be an adjustment period. There will be an adjustment period. That's probably the fear. After that, I have every intent that I know everything's going to be fine. I'm at peace. everybody will be okay. But I think there will be a transition phase.
Because a lot of people say that they don't want to leave people behind.
Sure.
I mean, that must be very difficult for you to sort of deal with that.
It is. But inside, I've got this sense of peace, and I'm coping really well with that. And I'm also, that's being transferred to my children spiritually. I feel they've got a sense of peace, and that feels really good.
In a sense, you have what many people don't get, which is a chance to say goodbye.
Yes, I've had a chance to literally almost plan. I've got the time. I've been able to write letters, write beautiful quotes, be able to paint for my children, be able to paint for my friends, be able to hand these really personal gifts, which means so much to me and the community around me. Now that's a wonderful thing to be able to give and to leave a legacy.
Yeah, of course.
Which I'll be leaving a legacy.
You live forever through your art, right?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
And even at your hospital bed, because there was a point where you couldn't move, what happened there?
The leg is fractured. The hip bone does actually have cancer, which is all part of what I'm going through. And so therefore it's really difficult lifting me in and out of bed. I did paint for 2 or 3 weeks with the canvas on top of the bed, and that wasn't easy. I literally shifted the easel round as I painted. So if you can imagine painting the bottom to the middle, shifted the canvas from the middle to the top, and then finished it, and it's quite amazing what you can do. But I did it, and now I can actually stand with a steel frame, and my latest pieces, I can actually stand as opposed to painting from the bed.
Did you fall? Did you actually break your hip?
I did fall, but it's because of brittle bones. It's because of the chemotherapy and the radiotherapy. There can be side effects, which means that they can come out in what we call the brittle bones, and it's all sort of probably quite complicated. But I think a couple of falls and the fact that the cancer has come through, spread to the bones, is the reason why, obviously, I've got the fractured hip bone.
And are you still having treatment?
I'm not, no. There's no more treatment. In the situation I find myself in, it has spread. It's incurable, and therefore there is no treatment possible with this triple negative.
What is it about triple negative breast cancer? What does that mean?
It means that it doesn't respond to certain positive receptors. So it means that you can treat it to a point, but then if it comes back and spreads, it's incurable. It's just a disease. It is like a killer disease. It can't be treated.
Is there any history of this in your family at all?
That's a really, really good question. Because there's breast cancer on my father's side, but there isn't actually, no, hereditary-wise or genetically, there isn't. And I wasn't BRCA1 or 2, which is the genetic test you take early to find out. So it has actually really a little bit come from nowhere, which makes it a little bit more difficult to take on board, because obviously if it is in the family, there's a greater acceptance that it's come through the family line. But no, unfortunately, no.
So there's no more treatment, but they've come out and talked about aspirin as something that could help to get those drugs into the system better.
That's really exciting. Obviously, to find that out last week, that gave me a smile to my face, because obviously thinking of so many different women, and that could really be a breakthrough in the future, to be able to take aspirin and to be able to take maybe other drugs alongside to stop the reoccurrence, or to be able to just stop it in its tracks. I'm really hopeful and supporting that.
It's a bit bittersweet though, in a sense.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's obviously early days, and clinical trials are clinical trials. I mean, obviously they need testing and to have a theory behind them, but we can but hope.
Well, let's hope they do, because it's such a simple thing as well, aspirin, that's quite well tolerated. So.
Of course, and an inexpensive drug to manufacture. So, you know, really hope there. Got some faith.
Yeah, well, let's hope they can find something to help other women. Unfortunately, obviously, that's come too late for you, but you are making a real statement, aren't you?
I am. I'm raising awareness, and this is the other legacy that I'd so wanted to talk to you about. And thank you, as I said, that I'm here to be able to say to other women, please, I say it again, get the CT scans, get the MRI scans after your first treatment.
Well, you're also exhibiting in this in a showcase in St Albans.
Sure.
And there's your work on the high street alongside this wonderful thing that's being done with the bid.
Yes, I mean, that's just phenomenal. The fact that we've got posters all over St Albans, and so good for St Albans as well, for the community to see new artists. I mean, not in my case a new artist, but very much to be able to view local artists on the street like that. What a great pop-up idea. I mean, great. I really, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
So many people in your situation may have just rolled over and just thought, oh, forget it, I'll just go quietly.
Yes.
But you're not prepared to do that at all, are you?
Not at all.
Your commissions then. So tell me about those commissions. What's your latest one?
The latest one is that they really are just friends, and a lot of people just suddenly saying, hang on, I want a Helen piece, which I get, of course I get. So it's really very much family and friends. But I just wanted to say that I've got some art literally any day going to Radlett train station. They're going to be in the platform. So end of August, that's one to look at. They're going to be everywhere.
Oh my God,
Hopefully.
You're everywhere. Listen,
fingers crossed.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing.
You too.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
Oh, it's a pleasure anytime.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.